Alright, what's going on, boys? Welcome back to a brand new video. This is my first settings video of this iteration of Warzone. I'm not really sure why it took so long to make it, but I just haven't really made one this year, so but yeah, so you guys can trust me with these settings. Obviously, I'm X top 250. I'd say I'm pretty good, and yeah, but I'm just gonna go from controller all the way down to interface. Obviously gonna leave this out so I don't play keyboard and mouse, but right now I play on PC and I use a PS5 scuff. It's like the new like the semi-new PS5 scuff that came out not too long ago, and I use TMR6 as well. So yeah, but yeah, let's go ahead and hop into it. All right, so in controller I do play tactical. I switched to this back in MW2 2022 and I've been playing on it since, and it's just a game changer. So if you still play default, try this out for at least a week and you'll notice a huge difference. It's just a game changer, honestly. So and then going down, I do play 1.75. I was playing like 1.6, but it was way too slow for me, so I just went up. I do play this for both, so going down, leave all of this stuff off, and then I do play with controller vibration on. I know it's kind of weird, so if you don't want to copy this, you don't have to. But I've been playing with controller vibration on since I started playing Call of Duty back in like 2012, so I just can't play without it on. So yeah. I haven't really changed any of the trigger effects or the dead put end zones, and I think you should actually leave this off for the trigger effects anyways. But yeah, the dead zones, I literally have not touched any of this, so all of this is still the exact same as how it was whenever I got the game, or at least got my account, so I have not changed any of this. This is all by default, so if you haven't changed it, then I'd say leave it how it is, especially because this can mess with like stick drift and stuff like that. If you have TMR6, like I said that I have, you can change this since like the stick drift isn't really there. But if you have like a normal PS5 controller or any other kind of controller, and you have just like a hair of stick drift, you'll notice this if you move your dead zones down. So I'd say keep it where it is right now. But if you don't have any stick drift, you can play with it obviously, but I left mine just to the default and it's felt great for me. So all right, and then to aiming under controller, which this is probably going to be the most important section of the entire video. So for sensitivity multiplayer, make sure you press square. Make sure all of this is just at 1.0. None of this really matters. Look conversion doesn't really matter. And then this category right here is literally you can watch any of my older settings videos, and this is the category that I focus the most on. So go in here and then go down to custom sensitivity per zoom, and we'll get back to this in just a second. But make sure you have this turned on and then press square or X if you're on Xbox. And these are all of the sensitivity ADS that I play on for each zoom. So low zoom, this would be like the red dot, and then like iron sights, I play on 0.55, which if you don't know, the default is 1.0. And I think that is just incredibly fast. I don't know if it's just me or not, but it is just insane to me. So like, I'll show you guys kind of just what this does. This one makes more sense. I'll turn it all the way to 4.0, and you're gonna see the difference. So and after this, I'll put it back to 0, and I'll show you guys what it does. So this is me on 4.0. So if I was trying to like shoot straight right now, I would literally like be like I was playing on no aim assist. It is insane. I have aim assist turned on and it's not even doing anything. So yeah, definitely it's horrible. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it down all the way to 0.1, and then this is 0.1. So I'm literally moving my stick all the way around right now and it's not moving. So that's just an idea of what this does if you don't really know what it does. But I do play on 0.55, and I think that's just a sweet spot for me. You can still move around quick, but your aim assist, like this is my aim assist right now, and it's like locking on. So it just feels really good, man. And it just, yeah, voice crack, but yeah, I've been going between like 0.7 or I'm sorry, 0.8 to about 0.7 up until this year when they nerfed the aim assist, and I just moved it down to 0.6 and then down to 0.55. But yeah, prior to this, I was playing like I would say between like 0.85 and 0.7. And but yeah, since they nerfed the aim assist, I went down to 0.55, and that's just felt a lot better. So and then obviously for the higher zooms, like snipers, I wouldn't recommend playing on 0.55. But yeah, if you use a sniper and try to play 0.55, it is awful. So make sure this is a little bit higher for snipers. Obviously high zoom, 8x, 6x, all that's gonna be for a sniper. And then back to where we were with the sensitivity, the aiming advanced settings. Make sure you have all of this copied. So instant, this is going to be a huge game changer. This doesn't really matter for the third person ADS correction type, and then aim response curve. This basically has a big impact on your aim assist, so make sure this is set to dynamic and not standard or linear. And you can put this to whatever works best for you. I'm pretty sure Ahsoka was playing on 0.8, which is why I'm at 0.8 right now, but yeah, so this is actually one of his settings I copied, and it's felt great. So, all right, and then in movement, make sure you have tack sprint assist turned on. This is just basically automatic tack sprint. This is gonna save your controller and your thumb just from having a tack sprint. And if you don't like this, obviously turn it off. This is gonna be personal preference, but I'd say about like 90% of people have this turned on. And then make sure you have the sideways and backwards sprint assist turned on. This is just basically like the automatic tack sprint for your Omni movement, to where you can go sideways and backwards automatically. So make sure you have the mantle assist turned off. You will notice if you have this turned on that you'll like mantle in the middle of gunfights and lose them. It's pretty ridiculous that this even exists, but yeah, make sure this is turned off. Same thing with crouch assist. And then all of this is default for the most part. I do have my slide / dive behavior to tap to slide, just so I can do movement easier. I can just tap my right stick and I slide. And then, but yeah, if you want to do like the tap to dive and you can hold to slide, it's honestly, it's going to be personal preference, but I'm pretty sure most people play tap to slide or hybrid, which you can read hybrid. It says tap only to slide, tap while holding sprint, input to dive. People play on this. I know like Shotzi, CDL pros play on this, but Warzone pros really don't play on this, so I would only recommend playing tap to slide. And yeah, so going down, a lot of this is on by default. Make sure the parachute automatic behavior is turned off. This is just going to make sure that your parachute doesn't automatically deploy whenever you get to like a certain threshold to the ground. Wingsuit activation. This is really only going to matter if you play like Black Ops Royale or any of the LTMs that have the wingsuit. All of this is default for the most part, and all of this is default as well. So yeah. All right, and then in combat, I have changed a little bit of this, but all of this is default for the most part. But the only things that I really changed in here is the dedicated melee weapon activation. Basically what this does when it's set to while sprinting only. So whenever you're sprinting, all you have to do is just tap your melee button and it pulls out your knife, rather than having to hold down the melee weapon and it pull out your knife. Because it can get kind of annoying where you'll like accidentally melee and stuff like that. So when this is set to while sprinting only, or even press melee, all you do is you tap your melee weapon and it pulls it out. So yeah, this is definitely a must for especially getting around the map easier. So I'm not sure if this is set to default or if this is manually changed, but make sure your armor plate behavior is apply all. This is going to be for newer players, because a lot of like skilled players or people who play the game at all know that this should be on anyways. But yeah, make sure that apply all is turned on. You'll notice a big difference if it's not turned off, or if it's turned to apply one. Everything else in here is turned to default, I believe, and none of this really matters. So all right, and then in display, I'm going to go through this real quick since these is just like PC graphic settings. So I play on 165 Hz with a 9070 XT on 1080p, and all of this I really have not changed. I have my frame limit set to 170, even though it still says 200 in game, so I'm not sure why it does that. But yeah, all of this is set to default. And then in quality, make sure you have your render resolution stuck to 100. This is going to be what your monitor is. And then all of this, Fidelity XCast is just going to be your sharpening. And I have mine set to 70. Going down, make sure your frame generation is turned off. This may look different if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, but I have AMD, so this might look a little bit different for some of you guys. But yeah, so this is really gets pretty important. Make sure that your texture resolution is turned to high or normal. It shows that it makes like a big difference, but it's like a 5 to 10 maybe frames difference, and it's not enough difference to make a difference in your performance gameplay. but the game looks a lot better when it's set to high. So you make sure all this is set to low, off, but make sure this is set to minimal for the on-demand texture streaming, and this is even for like consoles. This just gets rid of like all the lag and all that. So yeah, make sure it's set to minimal, and then everything else in here is pretty much set to low, just for better performance. And then view. This is going to be for all of my players, whether you're on PC, console, doesn't really matter. Make sure your FOV is set to 119. I'm not sure if it's really as big as it was back in like MW2 Vanguard, but if your FOV was set to 120, you actually lost aim assist. So I was playing on 119, or I've been playing on 119 since Vanguard, so yeah, that's why I play on 119 and not 120. Make sure your field of view, or your ADS field of view, is set to affected and not independent. It'll be blurry if you have it on independent. So I have my weapon field of view on wide versus default or narrow. I'm pretty sure default is obviously the one that is there by standard. And then all of this is really just common sense. Make sure the world motion blur turned off. Same thing with the weapon motion blur. Just your game's gonna look very blurry. Make sure your first person and third person camera movement are set to at least 50%. This is basically just going to make it to where if someone throws a grenade in your face, your screen isn't going to shake all over the place. And then this is going to be personal preference right here, but I have inverted flashbang turned on. So when I get flash, my screen turns black and not white, because I prefer not to be blind by age 30. So yeah, other than that, we're going to go to audio, and we're going to wrap this up real quick. So I have mine set to 100, obviously. I have my volume and all that, or my game volume and all that, turned to off, just because I hate listening to the music in the pregame. So yeah, make sure that this is just default or your actual your mic. And then I have my audio mix on Treyarch mix, and all of this is default for the most part, and none of this is really important. Yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this little settings video. Like I said, I haven't done one in like months. I think it's been like almost like a year at this point, probably something stupid. But yeah, anyways, love you guys, hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, peace.